Well, Mick...
Michael, how to explain that? Were you so good or was Port so bad? Sorry, were you so bad or Port so good?
We were terrible, but Port were outstanding. I mean, Port are coming into a final series. They played... They played finals footy that will worry the life out of a lot of sides. I thought they were outstanding. The second part is... you don't want to make excuses, but our blokes have been up for so long, and we're on our knees with injuries. But, the turnovers, we just committed turnovers that from players who normally don't turn the ball over, or young players who have learned a valuable lesson about turn. I think they kicked 16-14 from turnovers, and we broke even in clearances. So, when it was structurally sound, or when it was structure, we were sound. When it was open, they blitzed us. They were fantastic.
So they hurt you on the outside, Mick. I mean, their fitness tonight was a big edge, do you think?
Is that a question, or you make your statement?
It was a question. Do you think it was an issue, the fitness on the outside?
No. We've been up for so long. Our boys were very tired. Very, very tired.
From a development point of view, looking to next year, do you think you found a lot about your players that you could actually use to your advantage?
Well, I wouldn't use today as an example. I think it'd be unfair if we said that that's us. That's our most miserable we've played for probably since the Essendon game. And that was a lot.
Find out a lot about your players?
Well, it's hard to say. It's too easy to pick and say you get beaten by 100 points. Is that us? No, it's not. Did I learn a lot about the players? I learnt during the week that they were desperately tired, trying to keep their head above water against sides that are all in or fighting for a position in the 8. That is so. I've been in this position before, and it is so desperately tough. And there's no excuse for 100. But let me just say that for a start off. But having been there before, it is so desperately tough to get up every week fighting against a side who is either in the 8 or fighting for a position in the 8, particularly when we start to lose players. And we are. I'm not saying Holman didn't deserve a spot because he was our best available young kid coming through. The same can be said about Blaine Johnson. He hasn't really set the world on fire, but he was adequate in the seconds. And the same can be said about players who we try to, not cover for, but get them through the match, and it's taken its toll.
How deep do you have to cut at the end of the year, Mick? There's a lot of speculation about players. You have turned over a lot of players. You've played a lot of players this year.
We've played a lot of players, and we'll look at the playing list Monday week, and we will pick what we won't be swayed by today. We will be looking at the whole year.
That's Mark Murphy.
That's Jane. You can ask.
Yep. It's a pretty brave effort by Mick Murphy. I mean, you've been around a long time.
Sorry.
Just as a coach, Mick, Murphy's effort there. Even when you see him hit the ground that hard, does it affect you?
I'm not sure what the question is.
Well, you saw Murphy go down. It was a brave effort, and he's taken off on a stretcher.
I'm sorry, Mark. What's the question?
Does that affect you? You've been around a long time.
No, it doesn't affect me. It's a physical game. Players are going to come get cleaned up and that sort of stuff.
He went at it hard, though, Mick. You'd be happy with his attack on the ball.
It was a poor kick to him. That's what did it in the end. You don't want to see any player get carried off. But was it brave? Mark's a very brave player. Very brave player.
Well, if you don't mind if I ask about the opposition, Paul, remember at the start of the year when you asked about their run?
Yep.
Do you feel that's back and that's, again, a really potent thing for them again?
Absolutely. The thing that, I've got to say, the thing that I worried about most coming out of last week and the week before, it was a matter of time before I believe that it took its toll. There were some indicators during the week that we weren't as polished or as crisp as you would like going into a game. And looking at Port play over the last few weeks, you've just seen enough to suggest that if they get that running going, which they've started to do, on top of Ken was saying that he's had 41 of his 44 players available. Now that's a massive bonus, because what that does, it's not indirect pressure, but it puts an enormous amount of questions on players who occupy 15 to 22, because you know that you've got players who can take over. So you've got to run and you've got to do all those things that got them into a very good final position last year. They were good last year. They are probably better than last year, and that's significant, because really I wouldn't even know whether they're fourth or fifth, but if they're four, well, it's going to be difficult to beat them. If they're fifth, playing here with that sort of footy, they're going to be very, very hard to beat.
How hard are they to deny space? Because if they get space, they cut up opposition.
Yeah, well, you know, I'd hate to judge. They were terrific today, but I'd hate to judge them on the back of our game today. In reality, we had a lot of our players that have been, you know, brave over the last, very brave over the last few weeks, just really, well, struggled today. What
do you do next week, Mick? Someone like a Daisy?
No, I really couldn't even tell you who I've got available next week.
But you'll try a few fresh faces maybe to just have a look for next week.
Will I? Did you say? Well, I don't know whether we've got too many fresh faces left.
One more. Who's your argument, you know, for the six on the bench? Gain some something tonight when you have to leave a bloke on one leg? Yeah.
Look, I argued this case, and I know it sounds silly, but I argued this case in 1985. My second year, and they all looked at me as I was a man from wherever. But I think the way the game has gone, I don't suspect for one moment that it'll ever get near that, but I think the way the game has gone, the power athlete today is greater than what he was of yesteryear. The intensity of the game, we can make out whatever we like about us old players, the game is comprehensively better and comprehensively quicker and stronger. The rules don't allow the game to stop too often. I certainly wouldn't reduce the number of games a year, but I still think, without a shadow of doubt, any game that is 80 minutes and ends up going for 50% more has a real problem in today's environment for entertainment. And that blows out games, and it also blows out players. So if you've got a good long list, you'll get by. If you haven't, you just struggle right the way through. So there's a lot of issues there I haven't really covered for you.
Great. That's it.
Thanks, Mick.
How are you, Michael? Okay.